Chiefs players anonymously weighed in via a survey about the team, and Chiefs owner Clark Hunt was graded the lowest of any owner in the NFL, with the main problem being many believe he is not willing to invest to make things better for the team behind the scenes. And this is not the best look considering the Hunt family are one of the wealthiest owners in the entire NFL. So we got to dig into this report from the NFLPA and process through it. But first, how about those? All right, the NFL Player Team Report Cards for 2024 came out today, and it's worth taking a look at because there were a few concerning things brought up in this for the Chiefs. But before we get there, the point of this report card from the NFLPA is to improve the overall working conditions for the players, which includes the daily experiences of players at the team facilities away from the lights and the cameras. Last year for this survey, around 1,300 players anonymously provided info, and this year we saw an uptick of around 400 more players, 1,706 to be exact, submitted anonymous surveys this year. And if you divide that number by the number of teams, there are 32. That's roughly 53 players per team weighing in. Of course, that's an average, so some teams may have had more submit than others, but overall, that's a pretty decent percentage and a way to get an idea of how things are going behind the scenes. JJ Watt himself said this is something he's personally seen taken most seriously by players, so I don't think this report card is a big ol' nothing burger. The survey was answered by players from August 26th to November 16th of 2023, so the thoughts and opinions of the players about the Chiefs specifically were from this previous roster, the back-to-back Super Bowl winning champions. So let's take a look at this from a bird's eye view first, and then individually by category and look at some of the greatest concerns. Overall, the team was second to last. Yes, 31st of all clubs in this year's survey. Treatment of facilities was given a D+, food/cafeteria C-, nutritionist/dietitian F, locker room F, training room D, training staff F, weight room C+, strength coaches C+, team travel D, head coach A+. Let's freaking go, Andy. And finally, owner F-. It's crazy to look at this and see the nutritionist and training room ranked second to last, and then both the training staff and owner dead last, 32 out of 32. The clear bright spot in this report for the Chiefs is obviously Andy Reid, who ranked the highest of all head coaches with an A+. He's well beloved around the entire league, and the proof is in the pudding as to why that is. Remember, players anonymously weighed in on these report cards, so this is them being honest with how he, as in Andy Reid, really is behind closed doors. All that is no real surprise, but that's where most of the good news here stops for the most part. Players are notably frustrated by their workplace offerings, especially considering their success over recent years, with the two biggest issues being quality of care and out-of-date facilities. We will get to those soon, but let's start with the treatment of families. Players want daycare to be offered on-site, like most NFL teams, but they do provide daycare across the street on game day. This seems like a minor inconvenience to me and nothing really to stress about. Then the food and cafeteria ranked 25th in food taste and 27th in overall freshness, and it gets even worse when asked about the nutritionist/dietitian. The team's head dietitian was given the second lowest individual grade compared to others around the league, with players feeling like she is very rarely ever present, and only 37% of players feel like they got an individualized plan, which was 31st overall. Seems like the majority of players feel like the locker room is big enough and they have enough room at their lockers, but 75% and 63% weighing in that this is big enough still ranks them in the bottom of the NFL when compared to how other teams weighed in about their locker room. It seems like the biggest disappointment here is that the locker room is overdue for a renovation, with frustrations further piling up after players were told renovations would come after the conclusion of the 2022 season. But after returning for the next season, the only thing that changed was the team added chairs with backs on them for players to sit in. Now, the locker room being talked about is not the locker room at Arrowhead Stadium. That was recently renovated within the past few years. The players are talking about the practice facility locker room, which is where they are at most days. This one has not yet been upgraded, and according to Clark Hunt, is about 20 years old. Then if you look at the training room, the room is understaffed in the eyes of the players, with only 43% feeling they get an adequate amount of one-on-one treatment time. I believe that's specifically regarding the training staff. Then if you look at this one, quote, players feel that the staff is unwilling to provide the necessary treatment to support recovery and performance. For example, players are not allowed to get preventative treatment, soft tissue work, other care for soreness and day-to-day issues, a regular offering across the NFL. For the training staff themselves, they were given an F grade and ranked 32 out of 32, the bottom of this survey barrel. The team's head trainer, which I presume to be Rick Burkholder, though they don't say his name, was given the second lowest overall grade in the league. He was also on the naughty list last year with this survey in 2023, with several players mentioning him directly by name. Now, some players said they were unable to get rehab done to prepare for practice and reference an overall lack of care by the team, with a number of players feeling like the staff is not willing to provide support/treatment to all players. Well, that is not good, but it's a bit confusing to me that the training staff continues getting graded out so low, with players saying the training staff only slightly contributes to their success, yet year in and year out, the Chiefs remain one of the healthiest teams late in the season/playoff run, which definitely helps with success. As an outsider looking in, I mean, I'm in my basement, so take this for what it's worth. That part is definitely not adding up. These issues, though, I could see being helped by owner Clark Hunt, which we will get into soon, and it's not as difficult as you would think. As far as the weight room goes, it's not better than off-site locations where players can train in the majority of these players' eyes, and it could be bigger, i.e. they say there's not enough space to train effectively in the weight room. Then the strength coaches are ranked 30th, with only 76% of players feel like they get an individualized plan. Team travel is graded as a D, but I don't see any real issues here. They're big dudes, so some of them want more room on a flight, and the Chiefs are one of only 7 teams that require some of their players to have roommates the night before a game, but I don't know if that's really the end of the world. And here's where I want to spend a little bit more time. It's on the ownership. Clark Hunt, he received the lowest grade of any owner in the league, but this doesn't seem to be anything against him personally, like his character or moral ethics or anything like that. He's far from a sleazeball, seems like a stand-up guy. You can tell that he's well respected, but most of this seems to point to his unwillingness to spend money in some key areas, i.e., upgrades from the food to the strength training facility, practice facility, locker room, as well as money spent on more training staff. It seems to some that Clark Hunt is not willing to spend. He got a 4.9 out of 10 rating from Chiefs players when considering his willingness to invest in the facilities, which is a bit of a problem in my opinion. A lot of this can be fixed with upgrades and adding more staff members. I mean, if you had more staff members in the training room, they would get more one-on-one care, more individualized treatment plans, etc., etc. So increase the staff, but that obviously costs more money. Hopefully this is something we see the Chiefs aim to do next season. It's also worth noting that Jeff Schwartz shared 7 of the last 10 Super Bowl winners have owners graded D or worse, with him reiterating that it seems to be about the amenities, facilities, and food rather than the owner themselves. Well, it seems like some upgrades are much needed, and hopefully this report helps shed enough light on that to make things happen. Clark Hunt was actually asked about all this today after the Chiefs announced their plans to upgrade Arrowhead Stadium, which would feature a bunch of upgrades after the Royals relocate. And while I won't get into the full details of this video, you can see some of the updates here and a couple of screenshots that they want to make to enhance the game day experience. The estimated renovation costs are $800 million or so, by the way, with $300 million coming from the Hunt family and other taxes covering the remainder. A link to all the details of the upgrades are in the description if you want to check it out. But some fans are not happy with this list of upgrades and say more needs to be done, like adding a roof to allow an eventual Super Bowl to be played at Arrowhead, or at least some bars/restaurants added in the area. Immediately after this announcement, though, is when Clark was asked about the NFLPA report card, but the report card basically came out during this announcement. They were speaking at the podium, so Clark hadn't yet seen it before being asked. He did say, though, that upgrading the practice facility is something they will continue thinking about. They've outgrown it in ways, and with the practice facility coming up on 20 years old, they recognize the need to expand it and modernize it. The weird part here is Clark didn't mention any promise being made to the players about upgrading the facility last year, though players in the report seem to remember that it was promised. According to NFLPA President J.C. Tretter, players were told that the Chiefs played too long in the playoffs last year, and that didn't give the team enough time to fix the locker room, which definitely is a discrepancy in details, but if true, It's kind of messed up. Hey guys, great job on another Super Bowl win, but because of your success and this taking longer, we're not going to reward that success with any upgrades for you. Sorry. Again, Clark didn't make it seem like this was a promise, so it's hard to truly know. Either way, when you look at this report, combined with the fact that the Hunt family has a net worth of $15.3 billion with a B, that is so much money. That's the fourth wealthiest of any owner or owner group in the league. This is something that needs to change sooner rather than later, at least in my opinion. Even if it's just some aspects mentioned in this report and what players find to be a letdown, the team is winning year after year with nobody winning more games or more Super Bowls since 2018. I get that Arrowhead is the third oldest stadium in the NFL. It's an icon, a classic, but continue upgrading the facilities around it and improving it because the players have earned it. Plus, with that continued success comes increased ticket sales, merch sales, and overall revenue made. You then have the face of the NFL on your team, Patrick Mahomes, and Taylor Swift helped you rake in an additional hundreds of millions of dollars reportedly. So I think some upgrades are in order. And I realize some of you watching won't care about this and will call the players spoiled, coddled, privileged. They make millions of dollars. Who cares? But hey, they keep helping bring home Lombardi trophies. So it would probably be worthwhile for Clark Hunt or the Hunt family to invest back in to upgrade the facilities, increase staff, etc., to help appease the players who are bringing the organization success, or it could potentially affect the longevity of players wanting to remain there. But with all that being said, what do you guys make of this report? Do you think this could be a worrisome thing as time goes on if improvements are not made, or do you think it's fine? The team keeps winning and have proved to be successful even without these upgrades, so why does it even matter? Let me know either way in the comments down below, and until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?